I want to welcome everyone to our conversation about the Father Jake Foglio Chair in Spirituality, hosted here in the College of Arts and Letters. I am Chris Long. I'm the Dean of the College of Arts and Letters, and I am thrilled to be with you today. I am very happy to have Arthur Versluis, who's the chair of the Department of Religious Studies, with me, and of course, the wonderful and amazing and beloved Father Jake with us here as well. So it is great to see you, Father Jake, as I mentioned earlier, and I want to give people a quick sense of the process that we'll have together here for the next hour or so. This is a webinar, so people are welcome to post questions in the Q&A box of the application here. Zoom, many of you, I imagine, are living a portion of your lives as we all are through Zoom or some other form of video conferencing. So please feel free to post questions as they occur to you in the Q&A box, and we will do our best to answer them as they emerge. I want to say a few words about the importance of the chair, and then I will turn it over to Professor Versluis to talk a little bit about the process that we've undertaken to do the search for the Foglio chair, and then we will turn it over to Father Jake for a few words and thoughts, as I know this is such an important endeavor for him and for all of us who love and care about Father Jake as we search for a position that will do honor to him and his name and the work that he has done for so long here at MSU and beyond. So as I mentioned, we are living through really a tremendously challenging period of time as a culture, and we're all trying to navigate our ways to establish meaningful connection with one another, and we are hoping that this time together for the next hour or so will be a way of connecting with all of you and to give you a little bit of an update about where we are with this important search. I can hardly imagine a more urgent time for a hiring of a professor into this position of chair of spirituality in the name of Father Jake Foglio. The vision and the idea for this chair is to bring someone to campus who will empower our students to reflect seriously about what it means to live a meaningful and fulfilling life, and to create the conditions under which they can, as Father Jake likes to say, cultivate dual excellences in the field that they choose to study in, but then also the excellence of what it means to be a good human being and to put one's values into concrete practice in the world to make the world a better place. One of the great gifts of a four-year college education is that students have a chance to reflect on the meaning of their lives, ask the big questions, and consider how they're going to bring their best selves into the world to make the world more just and more beautiful and closer to the truth. So this is the big picture of what the chair of spirituality position is designed to do. The person that we hope to bring to the university will be engaged with undergraduate students and graduate students, but this really thinking about the opportunity we have to connect with a wide range of undergraduate students across the university, not just in the College of Arts and Letters, but also rooted in the tradition and the values and the vision of the College of Arts and Letters as a college that is committed to creating citizens who have integrity and who understand how to lead in an ethical way in a very complex and ambiguous and uncertain world. So that's the broadest vision of this position. And I'm going to turn it over to Arthur to talk a little bit about the search process, the vision for the position more specifically, and where we are with that. So over to you, Arthur.
Well, thank you, and welcome to everybody. I just have a few remarks here I wanted to make. I'm going to just briefly talk about how just a very brief history of how the chair came about in a little more detail, and then talk about a little bit about the area of spirituality and the Cal description for it, the description for the position, and then finally talk a little bit about a category that's related, which is the category of spiritual but not religious. And I'll introduce the search committee members as well. So with regard to the history of the chair, I knew Father Jake from a lecture series in the College of Human Medicine, and so we met there and we spoke at some length over some years about the possibility of a chair in this area, and ultimately I brought to Dean Long, and we had a conversation about the development of the chair. And now here it is, just about in realization, all of the conversation about that. So some of you may wonder, what this is. And of course, there's a terrific Cal website on the Folio chair. And so I would suggest you take a look to the Folio .msu.edu, cal.msu.edu website, which you can easily find through Google. And there's some description there of the area of spirituality, which Father Jake has described as, we want our students to recognize they can't be good professionals unless they're also good human beings. And that spirituality plays a central role in all human endeavors and aspirations in medicine, sciences, psychology, business, and engineering. So the idea of the chair is to reach out across the different fields and disciplines, but it's situated in Cal, in Arts and Letters, and the Department of Religious Studies, which is devoted to the study of religion, but our department is an engaged department. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. The area of spirituality is itself an area of study, and I have a recommendation which Father Jake shares for reading in this area, and it's a small book called, Spirituality by Philip Sheldrake, Professor Sheldrake, that you might very well want to take a look at, that describes the area in more detail. This is an exciting opportunity that we have here. The development of this chair in arts and letters and in religious studies. There are some other areas of public universities, University of Virginia, University of Wisconsin, and UCLA, each have different areas that include the area of spirituality. But in this particular chair, we have a special kind of outreach category. Which really is an exciting development within the study of, for us, both in the study of religion, but more broadly for the College of Arts and Letters and for MSU. Some of you might wonder about the relationship between spirituality and religion, and there's a category called religious. It's a demographic category that has been growing across the United States for the last 10 years or so. And in that category, people identify as spiritual but not religious. It's actually one of the fastest growing categories. It's between 25-30% of the whole population And it cuts across Democratic, Republican, all age groups, ethnic groups, gender, age categories, and it includes both spiritual and religious, spiritual not religious. But it's a fascinating area. We had students have done some research on this as a category. So we have a terrific religious studies department with excellent faculty, very engaged, research active, and it's a very collegial department with a unique career track for students in an area called nonprofit leadership. And that's an engaged expression of what we're calling applied religious studies. And so a natural home for this as a chair. And we help people understand their roles in society and ethically engaged department. But really the home of the chair is not religious studies. It's actually the College of Arts and Letters more broadly. And the focus is beyond arts and letters. The focus of the chair is to engage the other departments, including law and schools, including law and medicine, and the search committee. And the search reflects the description and the ideas that in order to focus on and develop curriculum in the area of human flourishing and virtue and Aristotelian understanding of becoming a fuller and more realized and engaged human being. And so I'd like to briefly now introduce our search committee members. The first of these is Dr. Gretel Van Wyk, whose specialty in religion, ethics, environmental ethics, ecology, and she's in the Department of Religious Studies. Gretel, could you say a few words?
You're muted, you're muted.
Thank you, Arthur, for the opportunity, and Dean Long and Father Jake. So yes, I teach in the area of religion, ethics, and the environment. I've taught in religious studies at MSU for 10 years. I absolutely love it. And I think that the chair has a potential to have great influence on our students in the College of Arts and Letters and the broader university. And I also think it provides a wonderful and unique platform for us as a land-grant institution to be engaging issues of spirituality in the surrounding community, per Father Jake's legacy, but also in broader academia, as Arthur alluded to. This is a very unique position, and I think it also has the potential to inspire other institutions to be thinking very broadly about the significance of spirituality in ways that extend beyond what we have typically done so in large public universities. And Dean Long referred to that as well in terms of this idea of excellence in a very broad way that of course includes spiritual considerations. So thank you, everyone. Glad to be on the committee, super excited for the search.
And Steve, Dr. Steve Roscos is a member of our committee, and he's in the College of Human Medicine. He's a physician and has a longtime interest in matters of spirituality. And so I'd like to, Steve, could you say a few words about the search and introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. Okay, looks like my video is going. Yeah, like you said, I'm in the Department of Family Medicine. I've been involved with a Folio lecture, which is a lecture on spirituality and medicine named in honor of Jake Folio for a lot of years now, and selecting the speakers. And I'm excited about this endowed chair. I guess just to think that anywhere I would have an endowed chair in spirituality is pretty exciting. But I think that thinking about the way that Jake thinks about spirituality, which is really about being an excellent human being, I think it's especially important in today's times, even just this year with all the tumult and unrest and uncertainty about our times, looking to the wisdom of the ages for wisdom, training students to be leaders in the future who not only have skills but character and wisdom, I think is especially important now. So that's why I'm excited about the chair.
Well, thank you. And I have a couple of other people, faculty members that I'd like to introduce, though they couldn't be here. One of them is Dr. David Stowe, whose area is music and religion, film and religion. He's a longtime faculty member, partly in the English department, and he's very excited to be part of this search committee and search process. Also, Dr. Gordon Henry, whose specialty is Native American literature, and he's a member of the Chippewa tribe. He's agreed kindly to be part of the search, and he's very excited about it. We were in touch about it today. He actually has there's medical reason why he couldn't be here today, but he will be. He isn't here in spirit, he told me, and is very excited about this. We're in touch today. And then finally, my own background. My area is Asian religions in America and American transcendentalism, American spirituality, mysticism, areas of that kind. So I'm really excited about this search. I think, I know we're going to have some great candidates, and we're really looking forward to the culmination of the search and welcome somebody to really, which has been a long time coming, and here we are in this event, and also beyond that, possibly funding events that are related to it. Those are things that are very exciting. The whole thing is really a remarkable development and unique in the country. So we're all eager to be a part of it and happy to be part of it.
Thank you, Arthur. It really means a lot to me that you're taking the leadership of this search on. I can't imagine a more qualified person for this, and somebody who really deeply understands the vision that we're trying to embody through the search. So thank you, and thanks to Stephen and Gretel and to all the members of the search committee. I have just had the most amazing experience of being able to talk about and work on this project of bringing this chair to MSU with Father Jake. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Father Jake. I know you've been struggling with some health issues recently. I know so many of the people here on the webinar are excited to hear from you. And we are just thrilled to have you with us. So how are you feeling, and how are you?
Thank you, Chris. I'm fine. No, not really. I'm better than I have been. I have great difficulty breathing and swallowing. I cannot take in anything but parade liquid for my feeding. And I just wanted to discuss, this is about spirituality. That's what we're seeking. A professor to come, and that would be who is a professor of spirituality, breaking down what spirituality really is, as the dean as suggested in Arthur, and that is, we want the graduates in arts and letters of all the departments in arts and letters to be good human beings and have excellence in their science, which is expected. But you have to be also, that's not enough. We want our graduates to be excellent human beings, which is the ability to go above and beyond instinct and to love. So the two talents that we want our graduates to amplify in their future work is that they're excellent in their field of science or whatever, but they're also excellent human beings, which means basically the ability to love, loving human being, because you cannot pass on your expert information without passing it on humanly by loving. Love is the above and beyond instinct. We're asking our graduates to be able to do that. And it's not, so spirituality is not religion. It's not anything else, but it's a quest for perfection in being a qualified human being in presenting their material.
Thank you, Father Jake. Can you hear us? Yes, you look like you might have frozen, but I really think it's important to emphasize the point that you made about love, because I think learning how to be a good human being requires us to love the world in a deep way, and this is really part of and to love one another in a deep way, and the love that you have given us at MSU, and all of us. I know so many people on this call, on this video conference today, have been touched by your love and by the work that you've done with us for so long. And this position is really designed to be an embodiment of that love in perpetuity, and to bring that care and love into the lives of our students into perpetuity. So this is your legacy, Father Jake, and we're doing our best.
So there's two.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Arthur Versluis. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Arthur Versluis and Jean Burnett and Terry Denbar were responsible for trying to put this together about spirituality. We have a proposal to name. There's a lot of material that exemplifies this, that create an Endowment Chair in spirituality. Let's see. That's all.
Thank you, Father Jake. Well, we have some questions that people have asked and submitted before the webinar that maybe we can go through now. If you have other questions as we move forward, please do post them in the Q&A. I think also the chat is open, so you can. I've seen some people posting things there too. We'll try and capture that. One question that we received was from Kelly Dean, a very, very important, very practical question, which is, what's the status of funding for the Folio scholarship and the Folio endowment? So I want to give a quick update on that. We have just about $2.3 million in the endowment. And to just give you a quick idea of what an endowment like that generates in terms of income, it's about, we receive about $40,000 for every $1 million of endowment income. So this endowment will be providing over $80,000 a year in income, and we're using that money both for the salary of a professor, but also using that, we're going to be using that for some of the programming that we'll ask the professor to do when they come to MSU. Now, obviously, we need to be very competitive with respect to the kinds of salaries we're offering our faculty in this regard. This is going to be a competitive field, so we are really continuing to try to raise money for this chair as we move forward. The more money that we are able to raise, the more robust our programming will be for students, the broader the reach that we'll be able to make to our students. So really what the core focus now is to raise money around providing the person who takes on this position with the resources they'll need to do transformative kinds of teaching and programming for our students, so that they can go out into the community and put the values that they learn about in the curriculum into practice in the world. And that's a really important part of this chair. So although I'm glad that we have $2.3 million, our goal has always been $3 million. And so we're continuing to press on that as we move forward. We have a question that I'm going to kick over to Arthur, maybe, and Gretel too, from Carol Swinehart, and about how this position relates to the spiritual communities on the campus and beyond. So maybe you could talk a little bit about what our vision is for that.
Well, the university, MSU, is of course a Tier 1 research university, but part of its mission is also outreach and engagement. And engagement goes across all of the different aspects of community, which includes different religious, other kinds of community groups. So outreach and engagement is how this position will be situated within MSU. And Gretel in particular has been teaching, Dr. Van Wyk has been teaching courses in nonprofit leadership, and engaged also with different nonprofit groups. So there's that as well. Gretel, you could talk a little bit briefly about outreach and engagement with regard to the Foglio Chair.
Sure, I would. I think we really see the Foglio Chair as having a positive growth impact on the nonprofit leadership concentration in terms of linking with spiritual communities both on campus and off campus. And part of the nonprofit leadership concentration in the Department of Religious Studies has really worked hard to connect students with nonprofit leaders. And oftentimes in religious studies, those nonprofit leaders either work at religious-oriented nonprofit groups with houses of worship, as well as with secular nonprofits doing social justice-oriented work. And so I think our vision for how the Foglio Chair could help to expand that is extremely important. And I think the platform we already have in place with the nonprofit leadership concentration is a perfect way to continue to try to connect the new endowed chair person with communities that we've been working with for a very long time in our department and in the College of Arts and Letters, and really try to deepen and expand those relationships in a variety of ways. So I think there are a lot of connections in place, but also a lot of avenues that we hope the chair will continue to explore and make connections with for students and for the university.
And more broadly across the outside the college, to human medicine, law, to sports, athletics, which Father Jake has been connected to. All of those things are part of the mission of the chair. There's an additional synergy, which is with what you are talking about, but the primary mission of the chair is, as I understand it from Father Jake, is to help form the virtuous individual and to engage within the university community in that as a process. But then as part of that, there are other synergies as well that are also possible. And that includes business and a whole variety of other areas. So I think all of that helps to answer that question.
Thanks, Arthur and Gretel. I am juggling things on the Zoom, trying to see if we can get a couple of our guests to come and actually join us and say a few words. One of the things that it was wonderful to receive, and I see Mary Renshaw is on the line as well. I do want to read this to you, Father Jake, so you hear this. Father Jake Foglio married my husband and me, Claude and Mary Renshaw, when we were both students at MSU. He married us at St. John's Student Parish on August 31st, 1968. And yes, we are still hitched, she says. Once upon a time, my husband and Jake played racquetball together regularly, and she was wondering if Jake remembers that. And she said she looked forward to seeing you, Father Jake. Do you remember playing racquetball?
I don't, but that's because of short memory. It's not because of my willingness to have done it and would do it again.
Excellent. Well, I can very much appreciate that. We also have Claudette and Jean Washington, who I think if I can pull this off, let's see if we can get you up onto becoming a panelist so that you could say a few words. Let's see. Have I lost them? Let's see. Hold on. Oh, there they are. Hold on a sec. I'm going to promote them to panelist and see if they are on the screen. If we can have them say a word or two. Can you? Let's see. Yeah, I hear. We hear you. We hear you. I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, Gene Washington here. Edina, Minnesota. That's where I'm calling. That's where we live right now.
Awesome. Yeah, we can hear you. Great.
So we're delighted to have this opportunity to join and to hear the good news and what you're doing. We're so proud of Father Jake.
And I'll just add to that, he taught us a lot about how to love other people through our work and what we did from the very beginning. So we're so proud of him and grateful to you for pursuing this chair. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's so great to have you with us from Minnesota. One of the amazing things about this distant engagement with each other and is the ways in which we can stay connected across distance. And it's so wonderful to have you joining us from Minnesota. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have a question, a comment from Meg Denbo. Father Jake has meant so much to my family and me. 12 years ago, he held our hands and prayed for my mother, who was in a coma at the time at Henry Ford Hospital. And she's looking forward to having pizza and beer with Father Jake again sometime soon. So the Denbo family loves you, Father Jake.
And Terry Denbo, as I said, and Jean Burnett, as well as Dean of Transportation, who have done so much to garner the funding we need further of that 700,000. And we asked you to do what time a basketball coach.
Tom,
Coach Izzo.
Yeah, Tom Izzo. And Sam, I'd have done by presenting the amount of money that is fathomable, non-fathomable. And
we're having, I think.
Dean.
and Dean has been so responsible for this.
Can you hear me a little better?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a little, it's a
Terry
little bit better
Dunbar,
now. I think
the Ide family, for
Yep.
all of their support. Okay.
And Jean Burnett was my anyhow. She's helping me get through my trauma. She's my
Caregiver?
caregiver, yes. But it had a lot to do with the paper that's followed that explains exactly what the chair is and what it does, and especially for Dr. Long, Chris Long, was without whom this could never have even started.
Oh, thank you, Father Jake. And yeah, we do want to say how grateful we are for Jean for all that you're doing for Father Jake. You know, Father Jake, we are sending our prayers and loves to you. We're sending all the energy we have to your well-being. We want you to be able to meet our candidates when we bring them through. Probably also virtually. I hate to say it, but given where we are, we'll probably still be virtual. But you know, that also gives us an opportunity to introduce people more broadly to those of you who are interested in the search. I have another question, one from Joan Madsen. Maybe I'll ask Arthur and Gretel to weigh in on. And is Joan's asking, I would love to hear more about the Foglio Chair of Spirituality. When will the first recipient be chosen, and what types of programs or courses are envisioned? Will there be access to these by those of us seeking lifelong learning, educational experiences? Good to know Joan is true liberal arts learner, always trying to learn. And we there?
I'm here.
Okay, good. And we want to, and Joan wants to send many thanks to Father Jake. So Arthur and Gretel, do you want to respond to that one?
Sure. Something just happened with my internet where the different gallery photos rearranged themselves. So I'm not quite sure whether my internet is entirely stable here.
I think actually what happened, Arthur, let me interrupt you for a second, because I think Father Jake wanted to say a word or two more. So that was what was happening. So let me kick it back over to Father Jake if we can, and then we'll go to you, Arthur.
You're on, Father Jake.
Arthur, I wanted to thank Arthur for all of his information and development for the paper that has come out of this, for the support of the Endowed Chair, both financially and through his introduction of Philip Sheldrake to us and his book that is so prominent in our understanding of spirituality.
Thanks, Father Jake. And yes, thank you, Arthur. This is, over to you.
Sure, I'll just say a little bit briefly about the chair and the timeline for the search, which was I think what the question was about. The timeline and the kinds of courses, and there, of course, it depends in part on who we choose in that regard. But the timeline is that the search is underway now, and it's continuing over this fall. We will be interviewing candidates, I would presume, in December, January, in that time frame. And probably the interviews will be virtual, but there maybe we can hold out hope for. Personally, I'm holding out hope for actual people coming, people coming in person. But either way, we have a plan, and so we expect to have somebody in place next spring, lined up, and then to be beginning a year from now, so be beginning in August of 2021. And we anticipate that this is someone who will be doing courses in part tied into IAH and IAH, which is in part of the description. These are integrative courses in the arts and humanities. And we think that's going to be a very important role in helping. The term integrative is part of what the chair of spirituality is about. So that's a natural place for the coursework. And that's actually in the college, but it's an MSU kind of course requirement. So that's a great area. Then in terms of, you had mentioned, I think, outreach and outreach possibilities, lifelong learning. And that, of course, depends on how the individual that we settle on and that we choose actually wants to work, because that will determine a lot. But those are kind of the parameters of where we're going, and it's very exciting. We can see the outlines from Father Jake's description and from the position description and his video on the folio.msu website. So the parameters are all there, and we're on the cusp of realizing this, and it's really extraordinary. So we're all quite excited about it. And Gretel, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I would just add that our department is very interdisciplinary, and most of the folks in our department also have courtesy, or many of them have adjunct or courtesy appointments in other departments. So I have a courtesy appointment in philosophy. Muhammad Khalil has a courtesy appointment in the law school and teaches classes there. So I think we're also very open, and the search is very open to an interdisciplinary approach to religious studies, where courses could also be taught in other areas in the university as well. And then in terms of the ongoing learning, I think that's a wonderful idea. And I could envision, a candidate offering workshops or kind of mini courses on a whole host of topics, of course, according to his or her choice, related to spirituality, that I think would be very intriguing for the college and university to promote. So I think we'll be looking for that kind of interest from a candidate as well.
Absolutely. And one of the things that is increasingly clear to me as I look out at the world, as we collectively come to try to come to terms with the pandemic that we're living through, and with all the issues around racial justice that we're trying to reckon with. There are increasingly people, particularly those who have a little bit more time, maybe, who are staying at home, to think about their lives in a different kind of way. This curriculum around spirituality, around thinking about what kind of life one wants to live, is more urgent now than ever. So I know we'll both have an amazing cast of candidates for this position, but I also think we're going to have an increased interest among the students in taking courses that provide them with an opportunity to think about the things that are now very much in the front of their minds as they think about what's the future hold for us in the wake of the pandemic. One of the questions for Arthur and Gretel I wanted to touch on is the question about the kind of credentials that we're looking for this candidate. Obviously, we pride ourselves on recruiting and retaining a world-class faculty. We are a major research university, a member of the American Association of Universities, the elite group of universities in the country and in the world. And so we're trying to make sure that we recruit someone to join the amazing faculty that we already have. So could you talk a little bit about the kind of credentials that we're looking for? Mary Sharp has asked that a version of that in the questions beforehand, and then she's also asked it a slightly different question that's maybe also related is, are we going to be investigating the kind of spiritual practice that our candidates may be involved in as they interview for this position? Well,
I have a couple remarks about that. One is that, of course, MSU is a Tier 1 research institution. So the search it's reflective of that. And so this is a traditional search in the sense that it's a search for somebody with these, the kind of publications and qualifications that would bring you to a Tier 1 research university. At the same time, we want someone who also is an engaged, what we would call in the College of Arts and Letters, an engaged scholar that would, for example, work with or teach within Citizen Scholars Program, something we've developed in Arts and Letters. And so this kind of position is reflective of Father Jake's vision, which you can see in the Foglio Chair website and the video there. That is exactly what the search reflects, is what's in there in terms of the position description. But the qualifications, CV, and so on, those aspects of the search are traditional in terms of an academic position. So that's my answer with regard to that question, which is a great question, and we're really excited. We want to see the kind of faculty member coming to MSU that really reflects really well and manifests the vision that we've been talking about. So, Gretel, would you have something to add to that?
I would just say that all of the members in our department right now are very engaged with community groups and activities in different sorts of ways, and very open to talking freely about how spiritual practice intersects with their work. So I think our search committee and our department as a whole we're a big tent in religious studies here at MSU. So I think we'd be very open to conversations about how spiritual practice intersects with the candidates' research and engagement and those sorts of questions. So I have no doubt that would be, we would be open to conversations about spiritual practice when it comes to candidates. And I also think we're going to have a wonderful pool of candidates. And I agree with Arthur that obviously we want someone with the very top credentials who can also relate to students and broader questions of living, excellent lives and being excellent human beings in very personal ways that connect with students as well.
Absolutely. I want to say a couple quick things about this. First of all, I want to recognize that Mary has also made the comment that if the endowed chair can enter the concept of love into academic discourse, the cultural impact could be profound indeed. I couldn't agree with that more. I think one of the reasons why I emphasize the importance of love is not just to reflect our collective love for Father Jake, which is genuine and hopefully transformative and healing for you, Father Jake, but it's also because of the power of love, both as a concept and a practice, within the context of higher education and in a secular public research university. I think, we need to be able to talk in concrete terms about how we're living our loving commitments to one another out into the world and infusing love into our relationships with one another at a time when we are experiencing so much kind of public discourse devoid of that kind of care and love. So it's really important, I think, to have that dimension in this work. I would also say, want to emphasize that many of you know that the university is under a hiring, what the president has called a hiring chill, and he calls it that just to say that, it's not a freeze, a complete absence of hiring, but it is a very chilly chill, I will say, as a dean trying to hire as many, during a time of intense budgetary constraint, and to be able to do this hire is really a great testimony to you, Father Jake, to the money that you have raised, that this chair has raised, to be able to provide the resources for this during a time when very few other universities are going to be hiring. That also will give us a pretty important competitive edge in terms of having candidates who are really top-notch. So that's an important component of this. I have a fun question from Jacqueline Mackey, who has also been chatting in the chat about the importance of a liberal arts education. So she's definitely preaching to the choir, so to speak. And she asked a very good lifelong learning liberal arts kind of question, which is that she's curious to know about the Foglio Chair related to areas of study. What is there a recommended reading list? We've mentioned Sheldrake, and so we'll have to make sure we get that out to her. And but what would be some things for people to think about from that standpoint? And will we have some opportunities to engage with our community, broader community, in the intellectual life of this chair during the process and even through programming afterwards?
Well, that's absolutely what we have in mind, is that the search is also engages the community more broadly. And because of this technology that we have, which has its glitches, of course, now and then, and we're all, we're aware of that, but it also is kind of miraculous that we can all be pulled together in this way. And that's something that we really plan to do, not only with the search and particular candidates, but beyond that, the position itself, whoever fills it, because it's an engaged role, it's an engaged scholarship role, we anticipate that the individual really will be engaging the community more broadly. And the book, by the way, that I mentioned Professor Sheldrake, but I didn't mention in detail the book itself, which is this book. It's Spirituality, A Very Short Introduction, which is a Oxford University Press book of just several years ago. And he is one of the scholars, of whom there are a number, who really focus on this as an area of scholarship, defining it separate from religion as such. It's easy to confuse spirituality and religion, but they're not the same thing. That's why there are different words. And in that very short book, he really explores the topic in a concise and really effective way. And I would recommend that book. I know Father Jake would recommend it as well. He's actually, Sheldrake is author of a number of books. There are some other books and authors I could recommend separately, but really for an introduction to the area, that is the single best book. And we look forward to community engagement and to welcoming somebody who can really move that forward. So that's a great question.
Absolutely. Yes. I think we really are looking for ways to make sure that we have the chance to engage our broader community. We are coming up to the end of our time here, but there is an anonymous question which I do think is worth mentioning and bringing up here, which is, will the Spirituality Chair have any opportunity to interact with programs to heal the MSU community after the sexual assault and harassment crisis it has faced? And yes, I think we are all focused on the survivors of sexual abuse on our campus and from a member of our university community. And we are very intentional about learning the lessons that we as a community need to learn about that. And a chair in spirituality will help ensure that we are infusing our curriculum with content that is directed and focused on these very challenging issues around how power operates and how that can have traumatic and harmful effects. The importance of listening and responding to each other and taking care of each other in those contexts is going to be critical. And so this chair of spirituality is a position that will allow us to continue the difficult work of coming to terms with this painful part of our history and the experience of MSU. So I do appreciate that comment. I want to thank so many of you for being here with us this afternoon. Thanks to Arthur and to Gretel and to Stephen, and thanks so much to Father Jake, who is with us today. It's such an honor to have you here and to know that you are able to be with us and listen and engage with us. I want to thank everyone who's attended our time together and assure everyone that we will be in communication with you as the search unfolds. We will be giving you updates about opportunities for you to, particularly if they're online, to hear the candidates speak when they come to virtually visit our campus. And then also, as Arthur was mentioning, our plans to have programming and a speaker series around the issue of spirituality more broadly aligned with this position is something that we will be communicating with you about as we move forward as well. So I want to thank everyone for this and ask maybe for a final word from Father Jake if he is up to it. Father Jake, would you like to say a few words in parting?
Yes, I forgot to thank Gretel and Liran for all her prestigious development of spirituality and to give it to us in our moving forward to getting a candidate. In closing, for the second time, I would like to thank my colleague, Chris. Without him, this wouldn't be possible. The whole idea of the College of Arts and Letters, yeah. And also for Arthur, now that's going to he and Gretel, I imagine, are going to pursue the pursual of a person to bring this into being. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring me by letting this happen in your college. God bless you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Jake. Thank you, everyone. And God bless you, Father Jake. And we are sending all of our healing energy to you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here.